Tad O'Malley here from O'Malley & Langen. If you're used to wearing these, and now you're stuck home wearing these, you may have a disability that prevents you from working. Call us at O'Malley & Langen. We can help you get the Social Security benefits that you've earned. Welcome back to You Be the Judge. I feel like I'm back on the Scranton School Board in one of the places that I love dearly, and that is a school that devotes their energy to teaching the youngest of our children. This is the Head Start Taylor Hill, and I'm honored to have as my guest a good friend of mine for a long time. His dad served in the National Guard with me for 20 years, and he has been a stalwart for the people of Lackawanna County as the head of the Scranton-Lackawanna Human Development Agency, Sam Sakachi. Sam, this is part of the Scranton-Lackawanna Human Development Agency,
Yes.
and you've been with the county for how long in that position?
38 years.
Starting off with Fred Lettieri?
Fred Lettieri was the executive director, and I came in as a Head Start coordinator, and then for 28 of those years I was the Head Start director.
And you've seen Head Start grow and the great work that it does. And our Head Start director now is Ann Linnity, who's with us. And Ann, thank you for all the work you do. And you do God's work. I mean, there's no other way to say it. What you're able to do for the families that are enrolled in this program and the kids make a difference. Sam, you have to have some success stories. Families that you see on the street today and kids that went through the center that you shake your head and say, wow.
Right, the difference between the time the children enroll and by the time they leave for kindergarten, including that transition period into the school districts, is just amazing. The successes that the children have made of themselves over the years, and you don't see it till years later, but they come back as doctors, they come back as lawyers, they come back as people in the political arena. All of those success stories, including their parents, who start coming to us in circumstances where they need an opportunity to get back on their feet. We help them get back into school. We help them to be able to find a job, to sustain a job. We work with them all the way through until their family circumstances are better. But the two cases that come to mind were the summer before last, as far as success is concerned. And there were two valedictorians in the 22 school districts in our service area. And both of them were Head Start graduates.
And these are kids that come from really tough beginnings, families that are struggling. And you know, every one of us has been there. Mm-hmm. I can remember my days as a second lieutenant in the National Guard, in the Army, after spending 3 years in law school and having loans that I had to pay and absolutely no money and two kids, worrying about whether my electricity was going to be shut off because we didn't have enough money to provide. And it's tough when we have financial problems. And to have a program like this lend a helping hand, and to know that there's a repayment.
Yes.
You said before the show started, Sam, that for every dollar we spend, there's a return. Tell our audience what the return is. Yeah,
depending on which study you look at, the minimum is $7, the maximum in some studies is $12. So it's not expenditure of funds, and you never see a return on investment. Any one of us who would be guaranteed a return on any of our investments of $7 to $12 for every dollar would jump at it, and that's what this is. It's an investment. And this is a tough time for you.
This is a tough time for me, and
we're going to get excuse me for a second. We're going to get this investment back, and what's the government doing?
They're cutting our enrollment.
So they've decided they want less money coming back in the long term for the short-term gain of being able to say, oh, we're balancing a budget. It's crazy.
It's going to spiral downward if it continues. You know, they're going to see, you know, parents aren't going to be able to go to work that are able to go to work now because their children are in a safe environment and they're learning, and you know they're going to be without care for their children again. And a lot of our parents work 2 jobs just to make ends meet.
And that's just a fact of life in today's economy. You know, the days of people making more money than their parents are passed. So young kids, even from affluent families that get married, are saddled with such huge debt. They need help, and when the government cuts it back, it just doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
And the sequestration, how much money have you lost this year from state and federal funding?
From almost $500,000.
In Lackawanna, Susquehanna,
Pike
and Wayne. And how's it impacted the ability to do your job?
Well, we're obviously not serving the families we want to serve. We're losing staff members. We're furloughing staff members because of it. We have 102 staff being furloughed next week without pay for a week to try to, meet these cuts that we have to make.
Ladies and gentlemen, think about it. When the sequestration hit, the first people that were impacted were our congressmen and senators. When they got on a plane, they found it very inconvenient because we didn't have enough air traffic controllers to get the planes flying on time. So we found a way to solve that problem. But at the same time, the children from families that are struggling don't get any break at all. And it is horrible. And it shouldn't happen in a country as great as America.
No, it shouldn't.
Yeah, you mentioned the country being as great as America. We're still the richest country on earth. We still have the most natural resources of any country on earth. It's just, it appears that nobody wants to pay their fair share. And it's unfortunate that if everybody did, it would be a lot less of a burden on everyone. I don't know what the answer to that is. That lies somewhere in Washington or in Harrisburg, but it's a shame that it's not more balanced.
One answer, and I've said this on my show time and time and time again, is come with me up into Susquehanna, and you're up there in Wyoming and Bradford counties, and look at the wealth that is being taken from the ground, and understand that there are farmers up there that were given $10, $5, $20 an acre to take out $100 million worth of gas because they weren't sophisticated enough. And our state hasn't found a way to rectify that, like having a windfall tax on any well that doesn't pay the farmer at least the fair royalty that they should get of $5,000 or $6,000. Not taxing the gas industry at a time that we're cutting back on a program as important to this makes no sense at all.
Exactly.
How many teachers do you have
In the Head Start program?
38.
38.
Okay, and that's in all three counties.
In all four
Four
counties.
All four counties.
Yes.
Yeah. Susquehanna, Wayne, Pike, and
Lackawanna and
Lackawanna.
Pike, yeah.
And speaking of teachers, people, many years ago when Head Start started to be scrutinized, it started to be looked at, there's a lot of federal money, there was a lot of federal money continuing to be invested in it. We started to measure, all Head Start programs started to measure the 5 early learning domains of children, and we have to submit that information to the government every year to justify our funding. And, we do a good job. This program does a good job. We have 87% of the children last year made gains in all 5 areas. That's a good return on your investment in education dollars.
So your kids, even at this level, when we talk about, and I know as a school director, I hated those standardized tests. I hated that, we're going to test all of the kids, and sometimes the districts have gotten in trouble as a result. Your kids here at this level even get tested.
It's really not a test. It's called an assessment. We measure when they come in, do they know their ABCs? Do they know their numbers? Do they know their colors? So we do assessments 3 times a year to see what progress has been made. And then we take a look at our classrooms as a whole. Are a lot of the children doing not so well? Do we need to change and enrich that classroom in the math and science area? So we do a lot of reflective listening and training and adjusting to the individual children's and centers' needs.
And you've seen the success stories as well. But your centers also help some of our immigrant neighbors. And last week I had Mayor Doherty on talking about 2 Bhutanese families that bought homes in Scranton.
Yeah.
language has to be a major problem at these centers. I know in the Scranton School District, I went to English as a second language center thinking I was going to learn all about Spanish and how they deal with all the Spanish-speaking kids. And the first thing I saw was a Chinese girl and then a girl from Portuguese or from Brazil speaking Portuguese and a couple Russian kids. You have them from all over.
Mm-hmm. We do. And we utilize a lot of interpreters. We work with Catholic Social Services, United Neighborhood Services here in the city to, get interpreters. And, we have a lot of bilingual staff members now. That's, one of our targets is to hire bilingual staff members because of the large number of bilingual children we're serving. Catholic Social Services several years ago, called us and they were bringing the poly refugee families into town. And they go right out to work, and they needed some support for their families and kids, and we have a lot of children from those areas in our centers.
Sam, Scranton-Lackawanna Human Development Agency is far more than just Head Start. I can remember when Freddie first started the CETA program a long, long time ago. A fellow who is about ready to retire, working for me for 30 years, came as a CETA employee where the county paid half of his salary and I paid half of his salary, and it got him back to work after a long unemployment. Mm-hmm. You do have some of that job training still going on, am I right?
We still do. The CETA program kind of morphed into workforce investment, where we deal with families, individuals that have been displaced from their jobs. The company closes or whatever. We also have people on unemployment who we try to get into training programs to retool their skills to get back into the job market or get back to school and enhance their education. We also have a weatherization program where we come in and weatherize homes for eligible families to cut down on their heating bills and to make their houses operate more efficiently. There's income guidelines for that also. And then we have a customer assistance program through UGI where we would help individuals who are having a problem paying their bills and work out some logistics between UGI and the families in order to help them to meet their obligations. We also have an EARN program where we deal with County Assistance Office enrollees, and they come in and we also train them for jobs. We have a print shop on site where they learn the trade of working in a print shop. So we try to get them back out into the workforce also.
1964 in January, Lyndon Johnson declared a war on poverty. And since that time, when you look at the history of Head Start and you look at the history of the other programs meant to keep Americans working in the poverty program, virtually every president from Lyndon Johnson to Nixon, to Carter, to Clinton, to Bush 1, Bush 2, everyone supported the idea. They saw the wisdom until we've got a Congress made up of people from the Tea Party that legitimately believe that government has to be trimmed back and people have to take care of themselves. And it makes no sense. It's been a war on public education. It's been a war on helping people. And every year it gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So
the damage to the education system is something that I can't see a quick recovery on. You have individuals that are coming out of high school now and determining what they want to do with their life, and a lot of them, a lot of excellent teachers, and you can't put a price tag on excellent teachers. They replenish the country. Their new ideas come from there. But what about someone now deciding on a career? Do they stay away from education, knowing the fact that it's on shaky ground, or do they go head first, knowing that they are the best educators?
and how important our math and science teachers are to our nation.
Yes.
Okay? We're having an immigration debate, and the fact of the matter is, we want immigrants from India. We want immigrants from China that have, in fact, learned in a better education system than we have today. And that's a sad. Watch the spelling bee this weekend, and you'll see kids that look a little bit different than those that have been born here in the United States. In fact, most of the real smart kids are those from the Middle East and India. And it's an indication that we've let our educational system slip, and it's a shame, and it's, as you say, it's a poor investment. So when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more on you. Pat O'Malley here from O'Malley & Langen. If you're used to wearing these, and now you're stuck home wearing these, you may have a disability that prevents you from working. Call us at O'Malley & Langen. We can help you get the Social Security benefits that you've earned.